London, 3:47 a.m. In a crowded flat lit by flickering monitors, a lone hacker waits for the markets to open. 5 minutes ago, he hacked a CEO's inbox and stole tomorrow's top-secret earnings report. Now he's trading stocks, options, $3 million in leverage, knowing the world is still asleep. One click could turn $10,000 into a fortune by sunrise. But outside, an unmarked van rolls to a stop. 18 months of cat and mouse are closing in. A silent alert flashes on his screen. Connection traced. Boots pound the stairwell. Metal meets wood. Door about to break. He hesitates over the keyboard. How did a bedroom hacker outsmart Wall Street? Who finally found his blind spot? Our story begins not on Wall Street, but in a modest London apartment. Robert Westbrook, 39 years old, unassuming and armed with a laptop, is hatching an audacious plan. He isn't a corporate insider, and he doesn't have elaborate spy networks. What he does have is a realization. The biggest secrets on Wall Street aren't locked in vaults. They live in email inboxes. Every quarter, executives draft earnings reports and discuss financial results hours or days before the public sees them. Those emails hold the power to make or break stock prices. If he can sneak a peek, he could trade on that information and reap millions, essentially printing money from thin air. But how can an outsider infiltrate the most sensitive data of US companies? Westbrook's eyes scan tech forums and hacker chats late into the night. The answer crystallizes: phishing. Instead of brute force or Hollywood-style hacking, he'll simply ask for the keys, albeit under false pretenses. He drafts emails that look identical to Microsoft's login alerts. Subject line: Office 365 password reset notice. His targets? Senior executives at mid-sized US firms, big enough to move markets, small enough that their cyber defenses might be lax. Will they take the bait? Westbrook crafts a convincing trap and hits send. Then he waits, heart pounding. Minutes pass, then ping. One executive clicks the link, resets their password, straight into Westbrook's hands. He's in. Yet, as he opens that first breached inbox, he's sweating. This moment could change his life or send him to prison. Did it actually work? The screen populates with the executive's emails, spreadsheets, draft press releases. Jackpot. There, an unreleased earnings report, full of confidential numbers. The company's revenue is far higher than analysts expect. When this news goes public tomorrow, the stock is bound to explode upward. Westbrook can barely contain his excitement. He's about to become an insider without ever setting foot in the company. But can he capitalize on this secret without getting caught? Westbrook moves quickly, fingers flying over his keyboard. Using the stolen executive credentials, he sets an auto-forwarding rule so every incoming email also quietly copies to his burner account. This way, any fresh confidential info funnels straight to him in real time. It's a silent, persistent backdoor. Before logging out, Westbrook carefully covers his tracks, marks messages as read, deletes any obvious traces of unusual activity. The goal is to stay invisible for as long as possible. Armed with the non-public earnings data, he now turns to trading. The company's stock is trading at $20, but Westbrook knows by tomorrow's earnings call it could skyrocket. How to maximize profit? Options. Instead of just buying stock, cheap contracts that will multiply in value if the stock jumps. In the pre-dawn darkness, he purchases thousands of options set to expire shortly after the announcement. It's a bold, risky bet. If he's wrong, or if someone notices the unusual trading, it could all collapse. But he's not wrong. He has the truth before anyone else. But will greed blind him to that risk? Moments after the company publicly releases its earnings, pandemonium hits the market. The earnings are a blowout. The stock soars exactly as Westbrook anticipated. His once cheap options explode in value. In a single morning, he turns a few $1,000s into hundreds of thousands. It feels unreal. Money out of thin air from a PDF nobody else has seen. Westbrook sells the options in short order and cashes in. The first score, complete. His heart races, not just from the profit, but from the sheer power of what he's done. Somewhere in an American boardroom, executives congratulate themselves on a successful quarter, unaware that a faceless intruder across the ocean just siphoned profit from their news. And Wall Street? It's blind to the hack. Traders attribute the market moves to normal earnings volatility. No one suspects a phantom in London pulling strings. Westbrook leans back in his chair, a grin spreading. If one earnings heist can net 6 figures, what could a dozen do? Emboldened by that first win, Westbrook scales up. Over the next year, he quietly breaches more companies, 5 in total, each carefully chosen. A food container manufacturer, a construction firm, a software provider, a gas station chain, a telecom hardware maker. Not household names to the average person, but each with stock prices that swing wildly on earnings news. With each target, his modus operandi is refined and ruthlessly efficient. Fish the exec, hijack the Office 365 account, set auto forward, trade, profit, repeat. But how long before one IT admin notices the silent auto forward rule? Quarter after quarter, at least 14 earnings announcements are compromised this way. It's as if he's ghostwriting part of the stock market script and cashing in on every plot twist. To keep his operation under wraps, Westbrook doubles down on anonymity. He routes his internet traffic through layers of VPN services, bouncing his connections across continents to mask his London IP. He uses disposable anonymous email addresses for the hacks and separate accounts for trading, all under fake names. The money he's making, nearly $3.75 million in total illicit profit, must be laundered carefully. He converts chunks of his gains into cryptocurrency, believing that will cover his tracks. Bitcoin tumbles into mixing services and fresh wallets, scattering like a trail of digital smoke. On the surface, he's a ghost. No obvious ties linking the trades to the hacks, no fingerprints on the emails. With growing confidence, Westbrook starts to feel untouchable. While Wall Street suits puzzle over why certain stocks had unusual trading activity before announcements, he's already moved on to the next target. Each successful trade bolsters his bank accounts and his ego. Imagine the rush. He's beating the market, again and again, by wielding secrets stolen from right under the noses of American CEOs. To him, it almost feels like a perfect crime. Who would suspect a lone Brit hiding behind encrypted connections? The FBI? The SEC? They'd have to crack through layers of obfuscation. And Westbrook is careful, almost paranoid about security. Almost. Yet, somewhere in the swirl of VPNs and crypto wallets, a tiny crack is forming. Westbrook doesn't know it, but each new exploit is drawing unwelcome attention. In the quiet halls of financial regulators, something, or someone, has noticed a pattern that doesn't fit. For now, the hacker is celebrating another payday, raising a glass to his own cunning. The champagne tastes sweet, but it might just be his last truly peaceful drink. Because he doesn't know the regulators have spotted an impossible winning streak. How many more toast before they knock? Earnings season 2020. As Westbrook executes another lightning-fast trade on insider info, far away in New York, a different screen lights up, one at the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. Sophisticated algorithms flag an anomaly. Someone is buying a lot of options right before earnings, repeatedly, and winning big every time. To the SEC's Market Abuse Unit, this is the equivalent of spotting a unicorn. Random luck could explain one fortuitous trade, but a string of them? Highly unlikely. Whispers of suspicion ripple through the halls. Could there be an insider trading ring operating? Or something even more insidious? A hacker? Regulators and analysts begin quietly piecing together clues. The trades span different companies and industries, but the timing and profits are uncanny. It's as if a single invisible hand orchestrated all of them. Traditional insider trading cases usually involve corporate insiders tipping off buddies or family. But here, none of the usual suspects pop up. No obvious connections among the traders on record, no identifiable tipper within the firms. It's a ghost. This is new territory, a hack-to-trade scheme, as investigators will later call it. Behind closed doors, the SEC's cyber unit kicks into gear. Who better to catch a cyber insider than cyber sleuths? They pull in data analysts and forensic tech experts. One investigator notices the telltale signs of phishing in one company's IT logs. A forgotten clue. An auto-forwarding rule that shouldn't be there. sending copies of a CFO's emails to an odd-looking Gmail address. Another finds that the suspicious trades were often done via accounts that, when subpoenaed, lead to bogus identities. Piece by piece, the puzzle starts to form a picture, and it points across the Atlantic. Then comes the breakthrough. Bitcoin. Westbrook's beloved escape route is about to betray him. Unbeknownst to him, the SEC's crypto tracing team has advanced tools, and they've been following the money on the blockchain. Those anonymous Bitcoin transactions? Not as invisible as he hoped. They find a cluster of crypto wallet addresses that received funds correlating to the stock trade's profits. Most of the wallets are cleverly laundered, but one address leads to a minor slip, a withdrawal to a currency exchange account that required an ID. Perhaps Westbrook was careless with a small transfer, or maybe he thought a modest sum wouldn't draw notice. But that one breadcrumb was enough. Investigators connect the exchange account to a real name, his name, Robert Westbrook. The moment that realization hits, it's like lightning. The ghost has a face. The net tightens. The anonymous hacker is about to get a very real knock on the door. But will he slam the laptop shut in time, or gift agents the evidence they need? Autumn 2024, just before dawn. On a quiet street in London, the silence is broken by the thunder of boots. British authorities, tipped off by the FBI, swarm an apartment building. Upstairs, Westbrook is jolted awake by a pounding on his door. His monitors are still glowing with stock charts and email inboxes, digital evidence of his exploits. He scrambles to shut his laptop hard in his throat. For a split second, he considers running or destroying drives. But it's too late. The door bursts open. Armed officers flood the tiny flat. "Robert Westbrook," one announces. "You're under arrest." In that instant, the world that Westbrook so carefully built, the false identities, the VPN masks, the secret crypto caches, comes crashing down. He's in handcuffs, disoriented by the harsh reality that his perfect crime wasn't so perfect after all. As he's led out into the chilly morning air, neighbors peep from behind curtains, utterly surprised that an international market fraud was operating next door. Westbrook's mind races. How did they find me? He thought he had erased himself, but investigators later explained that even his sophisticated maneuvers left digital breadcrumbs. Anonymous emails, chained VPNs, tumbled Bitcoin, but a handful of tiny slips became breadcrumbs straight to London. The Justice Department and SEC announced the case that very day, triumphantly labeling it a victory against a hack-to-trade fraudster. The news spreads fast and wide. Headlines tout the arrest of the UK hacker who stole corporate earnings to make $375 million in illegal trades. 5 companies' confidential data had been compromised. Though fortunately, no customer data. It was intellectual property, the financial secrets that he stole. In Newark, New Jersey, U.S. prosecutors unseal an indictment charging Westbrook with securities fraud, wire fraud, and multiple counts of computer fraud. Each charge carries hefty prison time, decades potentially. The SEC piles on a civil lawsuit seeking to fine him and claw back every dollar of his ill-gotten gains. Overnight, Robert Westbrook transforms from a mysterious phantom profiteer into a very real defendant facing justice. As he sits in a holding cell, awaiting extradition to the United States, one can only imagine what goes through his head. Perhaps he's replaying every step, marveling at how close he came to getting away with it. Or perhaps he's simply numb, confronted with the stark truth that Wall Street's watchdogs were more vigilant than he assumed. The hacker who once thought himself invincible has been defeated not by Wall Street's bankers, but by its regulators. Yet even as this chapter closes for Westbrook, a larger story is only beginning to unfold in financial centers around the world. The mastermind is caught, but what does this mean for the future? Westbrook's scheme sent a chill through the halls of finance. If a single hacker in a London flat can penetrate multiple companies and siphon out stock-moving intel, who else might try? Regulators are now sounding the alarm. Data breach insider trading could become a scourge that outpaces traditional Wall Street fraud. In fact, Westbrook's caper is just the latest in a series of wake-up calls. Not long before, a Russian hacker named Vlad Klushin pulled off a similar hack-and-trade scheme, netting over $90 million by infiltrating U.S. filing agencies. An operation so big, it grabbed global headlines. And years earlier, groups of Ukrainian hackers breached newswire services to steal earnings releases, teaming up with corrupt traders to profit around $100 million. The pattern is clear. As more market-sensitive data goes digital, the temptation for hackers to exploit it skyrockets. And what about Westbrook? His fate now serves as a cautionary tale. Facing potentially decades in prison if convicted, he is a living example of digital hubris, brilliant in execution, flawed in foresight. He exploited the system's weakness, but underestimated the guardians of that system. Yet an uneasy question appears. Was Westbrook just an outlier or a pioneer? Westbrook hacked inboxes, others hack entire countries. To see how a single hacker destroyed North Korea's internet, make sure to watch this video. The hacker who took down North Korea's internet.